Hello, my beautiful friends. I am so excited to be here today and to talk about my journey. My name is, that's my cute little new kitten. Actually, my daughter's kitten. My name is Seidel Schultz. I'm a vocal intuitive and light-filled astrologer, and I help women connect to the power and frequency of their voice, including my own. And that is what I want to talk today about. I have a personalized voice program that I take people through, and I decided at the beginning of this year that I needed to take myself through my own program. And so I sat down with myself and went through the program. And every time I take someone through this program, at the end of the program, I have started doing a case study. So we talk about their experience in the program, their experience before the program, their experience in the program, and where they're at now that they are through the program. And so I wanted to kind of walk you through my own journey through me going through my program. Okay, so I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to present the questions and then I'm going to answer them. I think this is going to be so fun. So I hope this is fun for you too. Okay, where was I before I found me? Where was I before I decided, like, before I started doing this program? Okay. Um, I was in a place where I had a very clear direction on what I needed to do in business. I had a clear direction on what I needed to do for marketing, and I was struggling. I was struggling to do it. On the outward, I would say, okay, let me say it like this. On the outward, it probably didn't look like I was struggling. I was still meeting numbers. I was surpassing expectations. I was surpassing my own expectations. Um, in 2022, I 1.5 times what I had done in 2021, which is great growth. Like, I feel like that is um sustainable growth, and I want sustainable growth. Like, I want sustainable growth in my business. Obviously, I don't want to grow too fast, um, too big too fast, because then that's not sustainable. Um, and I want to, like, really be able to help people in my business. And if I'm not functioning, then I can't help anybody. So that's where I was at. And I was like, okay, I think I can make between $2,000 and $4,000 every month. I had one month before I worked with myself that I hit 6,000, or I was like a few dollars away from hitting 6,000. I think it was 59.59 is what I made that month. And I share these, like, these numbers with you, not as I don't know, just to share reality, because this is like really where I was at before I started doing my program with myself, because I think it's a great indicator. Okay, so that's where I was. And I think specifically with my voice, like, where was I at with my voice? I was afraid of making a sale. I was afraid of asking. Ow. I was afraid of asking for the sale. People would come in a diagnostic session, and, at the end of the diagnostic session, we talk about what the journey would look like if we continue working together. No pressure, right? If it's not a good fit, uh, then it's not a good fit. But this was like the procedure. This is the path of a diagnostic session. Just like when you take your car to um, a mechanic, you get diagnosed, like, what is wrong, and then you pay them to fix it, right? And so that was kind of like how everything was set up, how my mentor set it up for me. And I was getting to the sales part, and I was getting stuck, and I was getting scared. I was still making sales. Like I was closing high ticket offers, but I wasn't doing it consistently, as at least not as consistently as I wanted to be doing it. Kitty tail. Okay, so that's where I was at. Um, when did I, so this is the next question. When did I decide that I wanted to do, like, this work and step into doing this work on myself for myself? It was at the end of December, and I was really disappointed. I was disappointed in myself. I was disappointed in how I'd been showing up in my business. I was disappointed in how how I was showing up in sales. I had a slower December. I think my December in 2022 was slower than my December in 2021. And when I do like at the back of my notebook, I have like a business journal, right? And at the back of my journal, I have like 2021, 2022, and then a third column or 2022, 2023, and then stop that. And then a third column of percentage. And so I do like 2022, stop that. And I put the month on there and then I put what I made and I break it out into quarters so I can see per month and per quarter what I've made. And then I do the same thing for the next year, right? Um, and I made less in December of 2022 than I had in December 2021. And that's a big deal for me. That is a sign like something needs to change. I need to address something. There wasn't growth. Yes, there was growth for the whole year, but I also look at growth per month. I look at growth per quarter. Um, anyway, so I was like, something needs to change. I have all the pieces in place um, to have a successful business, and I'm not making the sales. Um, what made me decide to do it? I had nothing to lose. I think well, I know when I thought about walking myself through the program, I I had some concerns. I was worried because it's hard to see your own blind spots, right? Like this is why you hire other people is so that they can see your blind spots. And this is why I'd hired a business coach is so that she could tell me and help me see what I needed to do in my business. And we really worked together to create this offer, this soul offer. I highly recommend checking Janelle Laura out. She's the one that helped me design this. But I knew that wasn't right. I could feel it. And whenever I hire a mentor, whenever someone hires me as a mentor, my desire is to be in alignment with what God wants for me. And so I always check in. Is this the right mentor for me? Is this the right time for me? And so I was asking, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, what do I need to do? And God was like, you need to do your thing. Like you need to walk yourself through and you need to focus it on sales and really focus it on stepping into your personal voice of sales. And I was like, all right. And so that is what really got me to do it. Now, I'm going to say, I thought about doing this for weeks before I actually did it. Um, because again, like that's the thing. And this is then the next question is like, what concerns did I have in working with myself? And my biggest concern was, can I see what's wrong with my own voice? Because a lot of times we can't see what's in our own way because we're too close, right? And so that was my biggest concern, but I took the leap and I was like, I'm gonna have to really rely on God to guide me through these sessions because I could get stuck. Okay. What helped me feel better about working with myself? I have to say, doing it. Doing it made me feel a lot better. And even just in the very first session, like I filled out the diagnostic form because I have everybody answer questions when they do a diagnostic. And I filled out that form and I was like, this is what I want. And I think filling out that form for me, I was like, okay, I can do this. And this is what's going on. And like really walking myself through the diagnostic session and seeing what I was struggling with and seeing it really clearly. I was like, whoa, I just saw that. And I, it doesn't have to be hard. It could actually be really exhilarating. And I think that was one of the things where I was like, oh my gosh, oh, this is what's the other thing is that one of my big concerns was, can I see through it? Like, can I see through my blind spots? and the time, because I'm like, I'm busy. When am I going to find the time to do sessions for myself? And we have appointments with other people, and we keep those appointments. But when we have an appointment to do something for ourselves, like self-care or something, that makes it that much harder to do. And sometimes we're like, well, I really need to do this instead. And so I was like, I know what I need to do is I have to set aside a specific time every week, and and it becomes a non-negotiable. And that's what happens during that time. And there was only 1 week out of the whole um, the 9 sessions that I worked on myself that I had to bump it. And after I bumped it, I was like, oh, that can't happen again. I noticed a huge difference. And so I really made a conscious effort. And I really made a non-negotiable that I was going to do the sessions for myself on the time frame that I was going to do them. And then when I stepped into doing that diagnostic session for myself, and I felt the exhilaration of doing this work, like this specific work, because I do stuff for myself every day. Like I do healing for myself every day, but doing 5 minutes of healing versus sitting down and actually doing a session on myself in a way that I do for everyone else, it was way different, and it was so much fun and so exhilarating. What has been my best result? Um, I think, oh my gosh, this kind of makes me want to cry. My my favorite result in doing this work with myself has been falling in love with sales. And falling in love with it in a way that honors not just me, but honors the other person as well. And that feels divine. It really feels divine. There have been um, countless sessions where, well, it really is every session. And I think, I really want people to know that that is every session I do, I am checking in. Every diagnostic session, I am checking in. I am asking what is going on with this person's voice. I'm listening to hear that, but I'm also asking, am I the right next step for this person? Because if I'm not, then the path isn't aligned and I don't want to do it. And I think before I had been afraid that I totally want to cry. If I stepped into sales, then people would feel pressured by me to purchase. And I didn't want anybody to experience that. Or somebody would buy and it wouldn't be right. And when if it's not a good fit, then they're not going to have the results that they want to have. They're not going to have the results that I want to have. And then it just like it gets messy and it makes the relationship so messy. And so my desire has always been to do this like heart-centered sales, where I'm really connected to God and then to the other person, like through God, so that I can see clearly if I'm the next person on their path, and then we can talk about that. But I was so terrified of sales that I couldn't connect properly. I couldn't connect properly. And so I was feeling really jumbled in my speech when it got to the end of the diagnostic and it's time to talk to somebody about it. And I'm sure if you're watching this video and you're like in the first few, you know, dozen diagnostic sessions, maybe you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, I can totally see that you were afraid to ask for the sale, or you were afraid to tell me about your program. And like, I'm gonna grab a tissue, really like work on it together. And talk to me about that, because I can look back and I can see like the places that I was so afraid to tell people what the next steps might be. And now there isn't any, I don't have trepidation about it, because I can feel it and I know and I can say, okay, this might not be the right next step for you, but when this is ready, this is your option for your voice going forward. And the decision is completely theirs. I mean, the decision is theirs regardless. But I don't have any fear about it. And I know exactly because I'm talking this way, what I should say this way, and whether they're right or not. And I have had a couple of people where I've said, um, I'm not your right next step. I can feel it. It's just not the right next step. Here are some things that you can do. These are some things that I would suggest to do to get ready if this is something that you want to do in the future. And that has felt so much better to me and felt more in alignment with me. And I feel like, not even I feel like, I have seen the impact that it's had on my voice outside of sales. I have watched myself, hopefully that doesn't sound too weird. But I've watched myself have conversations, more confident conversations with other people because now I feel confident in this place where I felt the weakest. Like you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And my weakest link was sales. It was by far my weakest link. And as I gained confidence in my connection to heaven and the things that I needed to say, that's when I really stepped into also having confidence in my connection to heaven and the things that I should say outside of sales. And I'm talking like in my marriage, I'm talking with my kids, with my friends, like all in all of these other places, I stepped into a place of having more confidence in my voice. And it's been just so fantastic. Um, so what has changed? I guess I should answer this question. What has changed in my business since I did this? Um, $2,000 is like yesteryear. $4,000 is yesteryear. I had my best month ever in March when I closed out working with myself and my program. And here it is in May, and I have smashed March. Like I've just smashed March. I've crossed into being a six-figure CEO. Like what I have received in the lifetime of my business is now in the six figures. Um, I anticipate of like I anticipate with um, hope and also what feels like assurance in my body that I will be six figures in a single year. This year, it'll be my first six-figure year, because I can see the trajectory of where my business is going based on like the comparison, right? So I'm over 300% uh, monthly and quarterly based on what I made the first quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year is up by 300%. And this quarter is already up over 300% as of this moment of the recording. Um, I'm less than $2,000 away from having made what I made entirely of all of last year, which is absolutely incredible. So that's where my business is at financially. Where my business is at, it intact is like as a whole, as the soul of my business. I feel more confident having a voice in my business. I feel more confident sharing my voice, my business voice. And when I say that, like the things about my business, I feel more confident sharing. I feel more confident having diagnostic sessions, doing YouTube live or YouTube's going live in my group, and uh, doing interviews. Like I just feel so much more confident in all of those things. And that's just in my business world. And then it's also impacted my private life, as I was saying. I feel more confident in communicating with my husband and with my children and with complete like with acquaintances and friends, and that has been so much fun for me to watch the change in myself. I feel like this is so funny. To watch the change in myself and in my business, like going forward, and like in my personal life and in my business life. And I feel like this too, like Oh, this is the other thing that has really come from this confidence in my voice and confidence in my sales, my sales voice, which isn't any different than my regular voice, but I I am not dependent on someone buying something. Like my money doesn't come from other people, my money comes from God. And so if people have a diagnostic session from and they don't book the package, then it's totally fine because I'm not dependent on them. I'm not my money isn't dependent on them. I'm not dependent on them for receiving my money. I'm dependent on God. So I do what God says. I follow the strategy in my business and things come in. Whether they come in from Judy or Susie. Like it doesn't matter whoever's the right path. And I feel like the as I've stepped into this more confidence space with my voice, it's given me this calm confidence in receiving money in my business. And I can receive in joy and I can receive in patience. Because business is up and down. Like you just can't have a business without having ups and downs. And I know that in the highs, it's so great. And then the lows, I just patience and to keep doing and to keep checking in and to keep just saying the things that God wants me to say and living my business the way that God wants me to direct our business and to live in my business. And that feels really good. Okay, I could never go back. This is what has changed that will never be the same. I can't ever go back to being afraid of sales. I can't go back to not saying things in my marriage. Like I have been speaking up so much more in my marriage, which sounds funny because I'm a voice, a voice person, and that is the whole thing. And I was speaking up, but it's even more now, and that feels so amazing. Okay. The next question, the last question is, what would I say to someone who is on the fence? If with working with me, what would I say with someone who was on the fence? I would say this. What does your soul say? What does God say? What does God say? Does God say that I'm the right next choice? Does God say, hire her and we'll work it out? Does he say you need to wait? Like that, listen to that. That's what I would say. If you're sitting on the fence on working with me, what does God say? How does it feel in your body? Um, and really check in because I want the people that are ready. I want the people that are right and it's the right time and I'm the right person, at this moment because there is no better fit than when it's the right time and the right person. That's when magnificent things happen and forward movement is made. And my daughter's calling me. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe for more videos. I've got a whole Chiron series going on right now and a Venus series coming up. We'll see you next time. Bye.